I asked Dr. Sexton to give us an overview of the science that he knows that we probably don't know so well, which is DNA and dating and matchmaking. How is it going to be very relevant to us moving forward? What does the future hold for this science? So Dr. Sexton is a PhD in population genetics, and he's on a mission to use DNA to forecast romantic chemistry. He started DNAromance.com in 2017 to do this very thing. And his presentation today is how DNA improves date choice.
So hello, I'm Dr. Timothy Sexton, and I'm the founder of DNA Romance. I graduated with my PhD in population genetics in 2012 and have over 16 years of experience with genetic analysis. I actually met my wife using a popular online dating site back in 2012. And this is Judith, who you can see on the left. But this isn't the dating site where we first met. We had both had a lot of awkward first dates, and we were experiencing the phenomenon known as online dating fatigue. Ultimately, Judith and I were the lucky ones who finally met our match online, and now we certainly understand the frustration caused by online dating. So out of these frustrating experiences, in 2014, we had the idea of starting a DNA-based dating site that would predict chemistry between people online, saving singles a lot of awkward first dates and dating fatigue. So fast forward a few years, and we ultimately launched DNA Romance to the public in September 2017. So Mark invited me here today to talk about how DNA can improve your date choice. So love, as you know, is really complicated, and today I'm going to oversimplify human attraction into 4 main categories, these being sexual chemistry, personality compatibility, and attraction to a person's appearances, as well as alignment of common interests. And while personality compatibility, physical attraction, and common interests can all be evaluated online, chemistry can only be measured on the first date. And this is because your sense of smell can only be used in person. Imagine chatting with somebody online for weeks, even months, and then ultimately you go to meet them and find there is simply no chemistry. In fact, they stink. You instantly realize that all of this time that you'd spent online had been wasted, which leads people to become tired and frustrated with the whole online dating experience. When you meet in person, your sense of smell is your natural radar to guide you on date choice and to detect chemistry. But the problem is, again, you can't use your sense of smell online. So my experience with using online dating was exhausting. The dates I organized were often awkward, and there was simply no chemistry with my online matches. I wondered why there was the instant mutual repulsion with some people and an instant attraction to others. So DNA Romance was born out of my intrigue about the scientific basis for the feelings of romantic chemistry. So how does DNA influence chemistry? And no, we're actually not talking about pheromones, like a single chemical compound that universally attracts the opposite sex. We all know this doesn't happen in human populations. It's far more complicated, but there is certainly a genuine correlation or connection between scent and attraction. So the genetic basis for chemistry actually relates to a set of genes called the major histocompatibility complex, which are positioned on chromosome 6 and play a role in pathogen recognition and response. MHC genes code for cell surface proteins that are essential for binding pathogens and displaying them to your T cells. So the famous sweaty t-shirt studies performed by Professor Klaus Wedekind in the 90s were the first to really demonstrate this relationship between scent, attraction, and DNA. Each participant was typed at specific genes in the MHC complex. And the next day, the participants ranked the smell of the other's sweaty t-shirts. The results were very pronounced. People found that sweaty t-shirts were more pleasant smelling when they had different MHC alleles to the t-shirt wearer. And the smells reported were quite repulsive when people had very similar MHC alleles to the t-shirt wearers. So this is very pronounced. But one very important point to note from these experiments was that a woman's ability to correctly detect a MHC dissimilar partner was actually reversed if they were taking the oral contraceptive pill. So these results correlating scent and genes to romantic attraction have been validated in different labs, in different populations, and these results have been presented in dozens of peer-reviewed research publications. And today, I'm only covering a few studies here, like the research of Yolanda Martins, who demonstrated the genetic rules for chemistry are also relevant regardless of sexual orientation, and the work by Professor Malinsky and Professor Wedekind, who published this fascinating study that provided an understanding that perfumes actually act as a natural amplifier for your body odor, explaining why perfumes actually smell different on different people. There is also research demonstrating that MHC dissimilarity can influence sexual satisfaction and even the strength of the female orgasm. So aligning with earlier research, it was shown that the pill actually does reverse a female's natural sense to evaluate chemistry. And when women stop taking the pill, they are less attracted to their current partner and more attracted to genetically different males. I must also mention the research by Professor Carol Ober at the University of Chicago, who followed the lives of 111 Hutterite couples and provided information on the outcomes of 251 pregnancies over a period of 10 years. And the results were really shocking. Similarity of MHC markers confers a significant risk of miscarriage. And then finally, Karen Wu showed that MHC dissimilarity was just as important as personality attributes in determining second date offers. So now we know the research, and this was just scratching the surface of the research, but why wasn't DNA being used for online dating? People have tried, but genomics isn't easy. With 3.2 billion bases in the human genome, it's possibly more complicated than rocket science. But in 2014, genomics wasn't as popular, and I was younger, a lot more ambitious, and I was a population geneticist by profession. I saw the opportunity to step in and use applied genomics to build a platform that could analyze people's DNA and translate this genetic information into a prediction of romantic chemistry between people online. So now I'd like to describe how DNA can improve date choice in the context of 2021, when the majority of singles are first meeting online. So we know that some people will share a sense of chemistry, like the couple on the left, and some people won't, like the couple on the right. And thanks to the research scientists, we know that the feeling of romantic chemistry does have a genetic basis. So we developed an algorithm called DRom 1.0 to present users with a high compatibility score for people who are genetically different and a low compatibility score for people who are very similar. The algorithm is far more complicated than what we show on the screen here, and it makes use of 100 different DNA markers that are spaced across the MHC complex. We built the DNA Romance platform as an interface to translate this information from people's DNA and matchmake them online. So our DRom 1.0 algorithm simplifies this information for customers into one score representing a genetic forecast of romantic chemistry. Earlier, I mentioned that love is complicated and DNA can't explain everything. So DNA Romance match people using a multi-dimensional approach based on all four major elements of human attraction, including romantic chemistry, personality compatibility, attraction to somebody's appearance, and alignment of common interests. So from inside DNA Romance, the customer sees a photograph of their new matches, as well as a prediction of romantic chemistry between them and their match, as well as a prediction of the amount of personality compatibility that will be shared between the two people. And our personality compatibility score is based on Myers-Briggs personality types. We also give users access to powerful search filters to allow them to narrow down on matches who fit their specifications, their particular type. So fake profiles are also, a common concern for all online dating sites, and accounts with bogus information or intentional scammers cause a lot of disappointment, cause a lot of time wasted, and expose good people to criminals. So DNA Romance's profile verification mechanism presents multiple layers of background checks that help indicate user profile authenticity, and a very large 35% is added to the verification score of people who have a valid DNA file on record. This additional layer of security helps confirm that users are authentic and serious about online dating. We are currently preparing our second DNA algorithm called DRom 2.0 for launch this fall. DRom 2.0 uses a neural network to evaluate DNA markers and predict phenotypic traits with a high accuracy. DRom 2.0 introduces an additional layer of genetic verification so that people can enjoy a more authentic experience with stronger profile completeness. So who is interested in DNA Romance? I can share some of the aggregate data from our users who have an average age of 31 years old. 48% are male, 44% are female, and 72% are heterosexual, while 28% identify as LGBTQ2S. When looking at personality types, 67% are introverted opposed to extroverted, and 77% are intuitive opposed to sensing. DNA Romance has a global community of scientifically minded people with active users in 143 different countries, but the majority of members are located in the USA, followed by Canada, the UK, and Australia. We are a very young company, and we do understand that we need to find local partners to better improve our offerings in these communities. People interested in genomics is growing, and DNA Romance is reverse compatible with the majority of direct-to-consumer DNA tests on the market, including those from 23andMe, Ancestry, MyHeritage, Family Tree DNA, the list goes on. DNA Romance is also forward compatible with the newer approaches like whole genome sequencing. And unfortunately, we can't generate matches from your COVID-19 tests, but the pandemic is certainly raising people's awareness for the applications of DNA testing. There is currently a lot of buzz getting generated around the field of genomics, some from our own efforts, but a lot from third-party champions that are out there raising awareness for the potential of using DNA dating. So to conclude, I'd like to remind you that we're a very young but fast-growing and open-minded company who use applied genomics to translate DNA information into something that can be used for online dating. Dating sites, there is a potential to extend our DNA functions to your sites. Matchmakers, we would welcome you to use our DNA analysis on behalf of your customers. Our user profiles can accept 2 email addresses. Or dating experts, why not sign up to our partner program and profit share with us? The DNA Romance website only launched 4 years ago, and we do have customers in 143 countries. And as I mentioned, localization is key, and we welcome local partners in different regions to join up with DNA Romance and establish a mutually beneficial partnership. And for investors who want a piece of the pie, now is actually the perfect time. At this stage, we're currently raising a seed round targeting $1 million. That said, we're open to all kinds of collaborations, and we're more than happy to hear your ideas. We're just scratching the surface with genomics, and what I presented here today is just the tip of the iceberg. I'd really love for you to join us as we learn more about the genetic basis of romantic chemistry and human attraction. So if you're interested, please do contact me at tim@dnaromance.com so we can organize a time to chat.